My husband and I were relaxing the other day. I was doing something on my phone and he was watching TV. He started telling me about something that had happened to him that day. He was really excited about it. I know he was excited because his voice was changing, he was shifting, and he was changing positions while he was talking. So he was really getting into the story. I was giving the occasional and oh wow, and even the well timed laugh when I felt like the Lord checked me because I wasn't really listening to him. I was hearing him, but I wasn't really listening. And that is both dangerous and detrimental. Hi, y'all. I'm Deborah Cheek, founder of Believing Wives, and we started a teaching last week that detailed how important it is that we listen. This week, I want us to look at some of the root causes as to why we don't listen and the impact that us not listening has on our husbands and our marriages. In the incident that I just shared with you, it is clear that I heard my husband, but I was not listening to him. I gave responses in the right places, but I didn't stop what I was doing and give him my undivided attention. I gave my attention to whatever was on my phone screen at the time. And honestly, I have no idea what it is while I'm talking to you right now, but at that moment, it took priority over my husband. I want to jump right out there and say this. Sometimes we are not listening because we don't prioritize what our spouse is saying. We don't think it's important. And maybe the specific story that's being told isn't that significant. But because our relationship with them is a priority, we have to take the time to listen. When I did not give my husband the attention and really listen to what he was saying, I was communicating that what he was sharing wasn't that important, and by extension, that I was not interested in what he had to say. It could very easily have made him feel that he wasn't important either. I was being self absorbed. It's very easy for us to get caught up in our lists, appointments, events, and even scrolling on our phones and dismiss others. We start half listening and half communicating and send unintentional signals that we aren't interested in others, specifically our spouses. But the Bible tells us in Philippians 2:4, don't look out only for your interest, but take an interest in others too. Part of taking an interest in others is listening to the things that they share that may not be all that interesting to us. Maybe it's football, maybe it's some other sport, maybe it's the details of the day. But we need to prioritize their interest and listening to them because it shows them that we prioritize them. A second reason why we struggle to listen to others is because we think we know better than they do. Or maybe we think we are better than they are. Obviously, if we're trained in an area we know a lot about, but we don't know everything about everything. I think a hard question that we need to ask ourselves is this. Do I think that I am better than my husband? It's a challenging question, but it will be a heart check because some of us may feel that we are better than our husbands, even if it's just subconsciously. I was certainly guilty of this early on in marriage. I thought that my way was better, how I did things was better, and I would catch myself side eyeing my husband or looking down on an experience he had or how he did things. That, my friends, is pride, plain and simple. And it will keep us from receiving from our husbands, and it will certainly keep us from listening to them. We will go to other sources that we think are more equipped or intelligent or fill in the blank with what you think they are more of and disqualify the wisdom that our husbands share with us, or we simply won't seek their input. Pride will not only make us feel like we are better or smarter than our husbands, it will cause us to treat them as if they are less than we are. It will show up in the way we speak to our husbands and about them, and for sure in our lack of listening to them. But that's never what God intended. As husbands and wives, we are partners, one partner not being better than the other, intertwining our lives so that one partner's strengths cover the areas of the other partner's weaknesses, and vice versa. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10 lays this teamwork out beautifully. It says, Two people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help, but someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. We have to stand side by side, and part of our standing and moving forward together is listening. The last reason I will share in this teaching for why we don't listen to our husbands is this: we don't want to hear what they have to say. It's just that simple. Sometimes we know what their answer is going to be or what advice they're going to give. If we've been together for any length of time, we can start noticing their patterns and predict with some level of accuracy their response. So we can guess if what they share is going to be something we will agree with and want to hear, or something that goes against what we want to hear. I've experienced this for sure. I've heard my husband advise me not to take on another responsibility, another position, another event. He's listed out rational and true reasons for why I shouldn't do it. But I really wanted to help, or I really wanted to be a part. So I didn't want to listen, even though I really should have listened. Or maybe there's a big purchase I want to make and we aren't in agreement on making the purchase right now. I don't want to hear that we need to wait a little while. I want to move forward. I wonder if you can identify. It can be hard for any of us to listen to something that is contrary to what we want to hear, right? But we must learn to listen to wisdom, even if it isn't what we want to hear. I shared a scripture last week that said, "Listen, that you may live." You can find that in Isaiah 55:3. If we'll listen, it can impact our lives. We have to learn to listen to wisdom, specifically wisdom from our husbands. Not only does it go a long way in making them feel heard and respected, which is the number one thing that most husbands need, it can draw us closer together. In Amos 3:3, God asks, "Can two people walk together without agreeing on the direction?" We must learn to listen to our husbands so that we can reason together and land in agreement so that we can move forward together rather than continuing striving against each other. I cannot stress to you how important listening is in our marriages. It can really make or break our relationships. And because we are believing wives, we're going to do everything we can to cultivate godly, lasting relationships, right? So far, we've detailed the importance of listening, the blessings of listening, and a few reasons why we don't listen. In the last session of this teaching on listening, we're going to discuss ways to improve our listening skills. They will be practical strategies that can be easily applied to our lives. Make sure that you have your pen and your notepad ready for that next week. Until then, keep applying biblical principles to your role as wife. It is yielding amazing results that will have an impact more than you know. You're growing and changing, and that's beautiful because changed wives change lives.